everyone's finished these steps. We're ready for the third step in our process of making this car. So we can click Done, Continue, and move on to the next step. So in this step, what happened? Okay, let's reset this. This because I had already made this step. So I clicked Reset, and I got my work back. Okay, perfect. Let me Control Z that. Alrighty. So before we can complete the body, we will create a path for the air to exit the balloon and be directed out of the back of the car. The air channel must start somewhere inside this balloon connector, because this is where the air is going to be, this is where the balloon's going to be. And it can end wherever you want. So if you want it to end, you know, coming out the back, sure. If you want it to end coming out the front, sure. If you want it to loop back around and come out the, you know, the top, whatever. If you want it to loop around this wheel and come out the bottom, why not? You guys can have the air come out wherever you want. You could just think, you know, which place might be best for the air to come out of. And there's a few options there to kind of think between. I won't really give you any hints, but there's some pictures and stuff coming up that show some really good examples, in my opinion. So this is where the air will be coming out of. The air channel will end wherever you think will provide the car the best boost. When building the air channel, it will help you to know a couple of tricks. You can make the body transparent and lock it so that it's not selectable. Doing this will allow you to better position the air channel inside the body. So we can make the body transparent and lock it so that it's not selectable. So I'm going to group my body together. It never mentioned it, but you should do this centering of this balloon thing from the last step. It doesn't really say it, but that's important. So I'm going to lock it, and it wants me to make it transparent. I've seen my students make things transparent before. But I don't really know how to do it. Shoot. What should I do when there's a step that I'm not sure how to do it? I know. I'll take the word. I'll copy it. I'll go to my lovely Google and I type in Tinkercad transparent. Oh, that's not right. Why didn't I copy the word? And I'll say Tinkercad copy. Oh, there it is right there. Search Google for transparent. Tinkercad, search Google for transparent. Or we could copy it and paste it in. So Tinkercad transparent. Oh, okay, it's right below the colors. So I never knew that. So I go to colors and I'll make it slightly transparent. Okay, cool. So that'll really help me put my air tunnel through this shape. All right, cool. So it wants me to use this purple bent pipe shape. I actually don't like this shape for personal reasons. You can do it if you want, but I'm just going to take a scribble and I'm just going to kind of think of how I want my air to go. So let me make a plan first before I scribble. So I think for this design, I think I'll have my air come down around this tire and at an angle out the bottom to try to like push it kind of like this as the air's coming out. Maybe that'll be good. Who knows? So I want it to come down around that tire and then out the bottom. Maybe that'll work. Let's try it. Why not? Let me squish this down a little bit. Let's rotate it so it's standing up. Let's resize it so it makes a little bit more sense for our design. Let's kind of just, and notice how I keep changing my camera angle and looking around and making sure that the thing I'm placing is getting placed correctly. How do I want this? I want it squished down a little bit. I want it squished this way a little bit. Okay, so it's going to come out just underneath the tire. Yeah, I guess that's good. And I'm definitely going to align it with this. Align it with this so that it's not pushing my car from like side to side. It's just giving it straight momentum, if that makes sense. So let me... Alright, that looks good to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pipe, I'm going to make it a hole, and I'm going to group it with this. That scribble tool is kind of my favorite way to make a pipe going through my thing. So we now see I have this air channel going down around my tire and then out underneath here. And let me think about if this would print pretty well on my 3D printer. Yeah, I think since it's such a narrow path, it would be able to bring the plastic across. It also kind of slopes up here, so it would have a little bit of support from the path itself. This has tons of support, so we'd have to worry about this overhang and this overhang. And I'd say it's pretty small. I'd say the 3D printer would probably be able to make this curvature. And this is important because if it doesn't, if there's some drooping in here, that could block our air channel. So that's something important to think about. But I think it's pretty okay. I'll let the teacher decide whether or not it's good. I'll move on. And if you guys want, there's a few other shapes you could also, play around with. You could just use cylinders maybe. And maybe just take like cylinders and kind of, shape them however you want. And this one's being very annoying and it doesn't want to rotate. I'm going to try one more time and then I'm going to get frustrated and I'm going to type in the numbers. So let's try -12. That's not enough. Let's try -20. So if you guys want, you could also take cylinders and maybe have them, going through your shape in other ways. I don't want it that big. So like, this is actually still way too big. So something like this might be good. It's really important though that you make sure that your pipe doesn't overlap with this wheel at all. Because if your air is coming out inside the wheel's axle, it might mess you up. Unless maybe you're trying to get, the air intentionally, pushing around the wheel inside this axle or something. Maybe you think that's going to be a good idea. Maybe you think that'll work. You could definitely try that. But I'm not sure it will. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to make, a tunnel going from this balloon connector to outside. You could try them with different thicknesses, different amounts of air going through it. However you guys want to make that connection, you definitely can. I'm pretty happy with this. And by the way, to check this, I am going to make it transparent, and I do want to see that that you have some tunnel going from this balloon connector and then out of your design somewhere else. I'm going to set this back to being not transparent so that I can keep working. I'm pretty happy with the hole I made. Oh, look, it has these notes here. Make sure the air channel doesn't break through the axle. Make sure there's a clear path through the channel. These are things I mentioned. But yeah, so that's it for the air channel. This is kind of like for you to think about the air, to kind of like think for yourselves how certain features might work. You could make something like in this picture. You could make it however you wanted. However you think is best. It's totally up to you. But all I want for this lesson is, some tunnel going through your shape. Some tunnel that leads from this balloon connector out your shape somewhere else. And that's going to push our shape forward. I actually don't like where this is coming out. I feel like if it was just a little farther back, if it came out behind this wheel, I think I'd get a lot more out of it. Who cares? Alright, so that'll be that last step. And this will be due the same day as the balloon connector itself, because these two steps aren't that hard. Okay, last lesson. Let's create wheels for our car. Let's design wheels for our car. So let me reset this. And we will actually work on this lesson in the next video.